Hello.
Hello.
Okay, hello. Melissa Sterling here with Shaheed Rana,
Hi.
my friend and counterpart, and we're going to talk about our experience this morning going to see a health professional here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where we live. Shaheed, this was your appointment. Take it away.
Okay, so I met with the nurse at a doctor's office, and I brought Melissa with me to meet her. And a few things that happened while I was talking to her was she was telling me that juicing can cloud your mind, and it can have negative effects on your energy, and that it really does havoc to your blood sugar levels. It's something that she does not recommend for her patients to do. Um, but she told me that she has seen incredible results in the last 3 months, lost over 20 pounds, switching to juicing, getting my nutrients through different methods, more energy than ever before, clearer head, just benefits in every area that I can really think of. So I had to let her know that, I disagreed with the fact that it's not good for your health. And yeah, I think it's been nothing but good.
So you kind of, would you, like, is it fair to say that the experience she described and the experience that you had were two different things?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. But when she was actually telling you this, how did you feel like she was delivering it? Like,
From someone who had no experience in this in the area, like it sounded like something that she had never really done. Because when I started telling her, well, what about juicing greens? Like, what, would that wreak havoc on your blood sugar levels? She didn't really seem to have any answers. So it felt like she was trying to tell a story about something that she believed but really didn't know too much about. So yeah, that's kind of the impression that I got from her.
good. Because, from my impression, she seemed really nice. She seemed very sweet. She seemed very caring. She really did seem like she was telling the truth as she believed it. And she seemed quite concerned that, something would get messed up if you did juicing, which is why she doesn't recommend it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
because
all kinds of things could happen.
it could wreak havoc on everything.
Yes. But in your actual experience, I mean, and with my experience with juicing, juicing completely changed my life. Once I started juicing, and I realized that I could directly infuse my blood with vitamins and nutrients from whole foods without having to go through the process of digesting all the fiber, I was hooked. It was like my body won a lottery every day with vitamins.
Yeah.
It was so amazing. So, Shahid's nurse was nice enough to provide me a copy of the Canada's Food Guide. Now, I'm going to just go through this Canada's Food Guide, and we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to share some of my own life practices. So these are things that I implement into my own life, and because they give me a good desired result, I continue to do them. I'm under the impression that everybody is different, and different things work better or worse for different people. So my regimen, or the way I decide what I'm going to do in my own life, is I try things. I do things, and then I check in with myself to see if I like the desired result or if I don't. If I like the desired result, it's going to be something I do again.
Yeah, for sure.
If I don't like the result, it's not desired, then I'm either going to think twice about that next time and not do it, or I'm going to do it knowing full well what's going to happen. Fair?
You're going to be prepared for the results because you'll have experienced it.
Right. I psych myself up for it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so where's one that everyone can relate to? A night of drinking.
Mm-hmm.
You go out for a night of drinking, and you have a couple drinks. You're going to be fine in the morning. You have two more than a couple drinks, or excuse me, a few more than a couple of drinks, and the next day it's going to be challenging.
Yeah.
If you've got like some big event on the Sunday, you don't go out partying on Saturday night to have too many drinks. Well, some people do, but as you get more experience and later on in life, you can't drink like you used to. Or actually, maybe you still can drink like you used to. You just can't recover like
you can't recover the same night. Yeah, exactly. The next day you're still feeling it.
Right. Okay. Canada's Food Guide. All right. So, I mean, I guess I can just show this to everybody. They've got this marked out into vegetables and fruits, grain products, milk and alternatives, and meat and alternatives. Now, I've been attending therapy for the last number of months in a system like this, and or not a system, but a location that offers the same sort of information. And I've seen all kinds of videos explaining this stuff. Um, it's interesting to me every time I hear them talk about these different food groups, especially the grain products, the milk and alternatives, and the meat and alternatives. Because if these are so, and I just look at this from my own life, and I think to myself, if these are so essential for my life, then how am I existing and surviving and thriving in an environment where I don't have grain products in my diet or milk and alternatives or meat and alternatives? I don't have these in my diet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still here. Yeah. I'm still here.
You're doing fine. Yeah.
Right. And I don't have like all sorts of problems, digestion issues, skin issues, behavior issues, mood issues, energy issues.
Yeah, you're always good to go. You always have a ton of energy.
Right. Yeah. But I'm not eating things that are zapping my energy.
And that was another thing. When we met with that lady today, she talked about carbs, about how important it is to have a lot of carbs in your diet, and about how it's your preferred energy source for your body, right? And what I've found is that by cutting out carbs, I actually have way more energy because I'm not wasting so much energy processing carbs. So there's a lot of things that.
Well, what did she say about the fuel for the brain?
That carbs are needed to fuel the brain, and that if you don't have carbs in your diet, your mind will start to get clouded. And I found by cutting down on carbs, I actually had an increase in my clarity. So I felt the opposite effects again in that scenario too. So.
And I mean, just touching on some of the research I've done and reading I've done, some of the wonderful documentaries that I've watched that are out there on the subject, when it comes to starchy foods and breads and cereals and grains and rice and those kinds of foods, I understand it to actually have the opposite effect because there's a part of your brain that's responsible for your temperature control and managing your emotions, and it's a receptor for a hormone called leptin. And leptin goes up and tells you, this part of your brain is called the hypothalamus. The leptin, when you hand to mouth, you feed yourself. Your body is satisfied with the amount that it has in the belly to process, and the leptin goes up and says, "Hey, I'm done eating, or we've got enough in there. Stop hand to mouth. Stop eating." Well, great. Then the body shuts down and you can digest and go in your merry way. But the problem is that all those starchy foods and the breads and cereals and all those complex carbohydrates, when they're processed through your digestive system and through the liver, there's a particle that goes up and clouds the hypothalamus. And then when the leptin comes over to knock and say, "Hey, I'm done. You need to hand to mouth. Like you don't need to keep hand to mouth. I've had enough food." It's like knocking on your neighbor's door at 3 o'clock in the morning when they've got a party going on.
Yeah, they're not going to hear you.
They're not going to hear you. And because these foods feed the pleasure center of our body, they actually like trick us into making us feel good. We're like, "Oh, you know what? I think I'd like to have another piece of bread."
Because we're not full.
No, because we still want to be stimulated. Our body doesn't recognize that it's full because it's clouded and it's not getting the message. And so I think about carbohydrates clouding the mind, and vegetables and whole plant-based foods bringing clarity. And she basically told us the opposite. She told, and I'm thinking, okay, so it's been months since I had grain products, milk and alternatives, meat and alternatives. I've consistently been eating vegetables and fruits, germinated nuts and seeds, cold pressed, organic, natural oils, and I'm clearer than I have been before. I'm working on retraining my brain for a whole bunch of different memory exercises, and I'm having success with that. And I'm becoming in the best shape of my life, and I'm not eating all these things that are supposed to be necessary and required. I find that very interesting. One of the videos that I saw at the health center, where they were talking about breads and cereals, and they were talking about how much of your shopping cart should be full of the breads and cereals. 25%. Can you believe that?
Yeah. I don't think that's necessary at all.
I look at our shopping cart and I don't see any of those products in there.
No, not yet.
How do you feel today? Do you feel like really cloudy?
No, I feel great. I feel perfect. Yeah, I'm good.
And what have you eaten today?
Had a fresh juice from Community. the carrot, apple, bean, ginger juice.
Yeah.
Had their salad bar along with a little bit of potatoes, a little bit of other stuff as well, pea shoots, like all this kind of good food, and that's all I had this morning, and I feel great. So
Right.
no need for it.
No need for any of these kind of stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna go through some of these things. I know that we probably can't see them on the video, but I just wanna share this with people.
Yeah, here.
Okay, so can you see that? All right. Good. All right. So vegetables and fruits, I'm going to totally agree with this. I think that we should all be eating as many vegetables as possible and then balancing that with fruits. Fruits do have a lot of sugar in them, and although the sugar in fruits is better for your body and more easily digested by your body than other forms of, processed sugar or confectionery sugar or things that have had their form modified, um, we don't want to overdo on the fruits. With that said, somebody who wants to drink fresh fruit juice all day long instead of drinking pop, I'm applauding them all day long. I would rather everybody drink fresh juice than pop. And when they get into the habit of not drinking the pop and drinking the juice, then they can progress into adding some more vegetables in that.
So the idea is to slowly introduce people to the other options. Right?
Yeah, nobody has time to do changes in one day. It doesn't work. You have to implement small strategies of things that are achievable. I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
I'm not done. Okay, so fresh, frozen, or canned vegetables are great. Fresh is always better than frozen or canned, but vegetables are always better than other things. So you want to stick with those. Leafy greens, of course. Frozen fruits. I mean, we enjoy the frozen fruits and all kinds of smoothies and stuff. They're excellent. Now this is where I get confused. One slice of bread. Now I have heard I don't know if argument is the right word, but the position that whole grains are better than other grains. Well, you know what? Bread is bread. And just because something is not as bad for you as something else, it does not mean it's good for you. There's people whipping up in their own kitchens at home sprouted grains and this and that, and it's not fair to say 100% of all these things are as bad as the rest. But even the best ones are not that good for you. They're still taking a lot of energy and not giving you a lot of benefit. You're way better off to eat a whole bunch of broccoli than you are to eat bread. That's how it is. Canned evaporated milk. I can't even believe this is on here. If I found a can of evaporated milk and just showed you the ingredients, it should not be a food group. That's like a dessert. It's got so much sugar in it, it's a dessert. Fortified soy beverage. Where do I even start with soy? If you're interested in how soy causes your body to change the way it metabolizes certain estrogens in your body or the other effects that it has, just Google soy products. In my own life, if it's organic and unprocessed, sometimes I might allow it in the diet. It's not something that I do on a permanent basis, but it's kind of one of those things that when you're out, it's a better choice than milk.
Soy is.
It would be a better choice than milk.
You prefer almond milk over that? And what about rice milk?
I'd prefer almond milk over it, unless you're allergic to nuts. I prefer rice milk over it too. I'm not big on the benefits of rice, but I prefer rice milk. I don't think it's going to hurt you as much.
And that's because you think soy has worse longer-term effects than the...
Yeah, all the benefits of soy. I mean, the cultures that have used soy as a benefit in the past for their protein and their good benefits has been fermented or natural, and it's been as a garnish or a small portion of the diet. It's never been the main portion or an alternative for something as a main portion of the diet. And as I see more and more people out there, as we increase our intake of soy, the communities that eat the more soy, which is more prevalent in North America, we're eating processed soy products, and the diseases are going up. The sickness is going up.
The doctor's office was packed this
It was packed this morning.
Yeah.
You're right. And it all looked like healthy people.
No, and we had to stand. Like, there were so many people in there. Like, there's a lot of people getting sick all the time. And maybe part of it's due to the weather. We just recently had a really bad snowstorm in May.
Right, but you know what? We are experiencing that same weather either. We're not sick.
That's true.
Why?
Because we have different fuel.
We have different fuel, and we monitor and strengthen our immune systems every day with lifestyle behaviors.
And exercise.
We're
like
exercising.
Working out, eating right, all those things are very important to,
healthy
to
lifestyle
being stronger,
habits.
right?
Yep. Okay, cooked rice, bulgur, or quinoa. You know what? Quinoa is one of those things that I think can be a really good addition to a diet. Again, not as a staple. It's not a you don't eat a plate of quinoa with something else. You eat a plate of vegetables with a side dish of some quinoa in it with some other stuff with some, you're not eating quinoa with a little bit of vegetables on top. You want to have vegetables with a little bit of quinoa. It's the ratios. Cereal, hot or cold. Cereal is one of those things that I wish I could just break down for people in relation to sugars. Now, you can find a million opinions, but one of the best ways that I've found to break something down into sugar was breaking it down into teaspoons. In the literature I read, this lady had said that, comfortably people could, and this is way more than what I think is good or what I would want in my own life, but she said between 8 to 12 teaspoons of sugar should be the max that a human body should process every day and expect to stay in good health. Okay? So how do we figure that out? Well, we take grams of sugar and divide it by 5, and that's how many teaspoons it is. Now, how do we figure out the sugar content in something? You can't just look at the sugar. What you have to do is look at the carbohydrates minus the fiber, and that's the sugar. Because some of these cereals and stuff, they might have 40 grams of carbohydrates, and they might only say they have like 8 or 12 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
But then they only have 2 grams of fiber. So you're taking 40 grams of carbohydrates minus 2 grams of fiber is 38. Divide that by 5.
7 points.
Well, 7.5. 7.7 grams. Okay, so maybe I can't remember how the labels go, but it's still 7 grams. 7.5 grams. Or teaspoons, teaspoons. Right. So then, if you're going on that scale, if you're supposed to have 5 to 8, you're almost eating all of the allotted sugar. Not 5 to 8, 8 to 12. You're almost eating all of your sugar in part of one meal. Cereal's not a complete meal.
And it's something that won't sustain you for the whole day.
Right. So it's
you need
part
more
of
than
a meal.
Cereal in a day.
Right. And if you look at the relation, and if you actually look at the label, you're going to look at the percentages of different things, and none of them are 100. They're like 4% of this, 2% of that, 16% of this, 30% of that. So you're getting like very small percentages of, things that you need, and you're using up 100% almost of your sugar intake.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to survive?
Well, it's impossible to get the vitamin intake that you need if that's the case without exceeding the sugar limit. But that's if you only eat that particular food all day. So, but you're
starting out your food. What else are you going to eat?
In one meal, you're already sunk on your amount.
Yeah, like what can you eat next?
I don't know. I guess just straight vitamins.
Like you're stuck.
Yeah.
So if
you're not going to be fulfilled.
You're not going to be fulfilled. Your nutrient requirement's not fulfilled. Your body's requirement for anything's not fulfilled. You're not going to feel good. You're not going to think good. You're not going to have good energy. Don't even think about exercising because nobody's got time for that if you don't have no energy.
Of course.
It doesn't work. It doesn't.
You want to lie on the couch and.
Right. Cooked pasta or couscous. Now she did want you to eat more pasta.
Yeah, she specifically told me that I should be putting whole grains and pasta into my diet, things like that.
At every meal.
Yeah, and at least having a couple cheat meals a week, and that I should, enjoy things. And she kind of, I don't know, she basically encouraged me to integrate that back into my diet.
Right.
Because I told her it was something that I used to enjoy a lot, was going for pasta. And she's like, well, you should do it then, if you enjoyed it, you should do it. But I had learned, I felt better when I actually cut that out. So I stopped doing it because I wanted to feel good all the time, right? So.
And although she's giving you what she thinks is good advice, she's trying to help you achieve enjoyment in your life. But you became aware through your own experience of what really brings you enjoyment. And it's not the pasta,
it's the better feeling. Like the pasta is instant gratification, but it doesn't last, right? So I prefer to have constantly better energy rather than being tired all the time. The main thing is the difference between being tired all the time and having energy all day without needing to sleep halfway through the day and split up.
What are you doing at 8 o'clock tonight?
Going to a class, power cycle class.
So you think you're going to have energy at 8 o'clock tonight?
For sure, yeah.
How do you manage that?
I don't know, I just have it because I'm not weighing myself. I'm not wasting all my energy processing my food. So by not doing that, I have more energy for other things, which includes classes, working out, just even running this, like doing anything, right? So,
Cool. All right, let's get on to milk and alternatives.
Sounds good.
Oh, you know what? I jumped around here, didn't I? Canned milk. I went all over the place. I missed bagel and flatbreads, but you can just put those to the bread. I mean,
Same idea.
it's the same idea.
Yeah.
Milk. Nobody has time to drink milk. It causes too many problems in the body. I know there's people out there arguing for, whole milk and this and that. And the long and short of it is, if you have a cow in your own backyard and you want to drink its milk and that's your choice, go ahead. But if you don't know the kind of food the animal has been eating and you don't know the kind of treatment that the animal has been having, then why would we really want to put that into our body? I don't know.
One thing that I learned about milk as well is that your body puts a layer of mucus to protect its internal organs from the milk's effects. And once I learned that, I started seeing it differently because cheese was a staple part of my diet. Being a vegetarian, that needed, that just kind of always had cheese all the time because I love it, right?
Well, you think you need your protein from your milk sources.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the taste of cheese.
Of course. Who doesn't enjoy the taste of cheese?
Of course, I would have different kinds. Like I would go to places and get really cool, good stuff. But I found that I would wake up in the morning stuffed up. Like I would have pizza sometimes at midnight because I was hungry and I didn't know what else to do. So I'd order it, they deliver it, perfect, right? Eat the whole damn thing. And by the next morning, I'm like, shit, I feel like crap. I can't breathe barely. I'm like just having a hard time. And after cutting that out, that doesn't happen anymore. I don't get sinus issues at all. And I think milk was one of the best things.
You know what? I really noticed when I cut milk out of my diet? I didn't get sleep in my eyes anymore.
Yeah, I haven't had that for a long time either.
I know.
I never really noticed that.
Yeah, when your body is mucousy, when it needs to protect itself, those things come out. And they come out in acne, they come out in phlegm, they come out in eye mucus.
Yeah, it comes out of your pores. Like
it comes out of yourself.
Yeah.
It's not good. Okay, so we talked about the canned milk, the fortified soy beverage, yogurt. Okay, yogurt is something that I want to address because everybody seems to think that Greek yogurt is better than other regular yogurt. I'm not sure why that is, why people think that. I'm sure it's because they assume that the ingredients are more natural or it's more usable by the body. But the long and short of it is that yogurt is supposed to be giving us beneficial bacteria, and most often, well, so often, the yogurt's mixed with all kinds of fruit, and the fruit sugar and the yogurt, the bacteria in the yogurt, they don't mix well. So you might have had something that's really beneficial, but once it's mixed and stored and shipped and chemicals added to keep things separate and all this kind of junk, it's no longer that beneficial. Plus, there's a mineral imbalance in dairy products. Our body needs a lot more magnesium than we get in our diet. And, taking extra magnesium into your diet can give you so many more benefits. There's an unimaginable amount of processes in the body that become more better functioning when they have adequate magnesium. And when you're eating dairy products, like when you're eating milk, for instance, the magnesium to calcium ratio, I believe, is about 7 to 1. So you're supposed to be having about 2 calcium to 1 magnesium, 2 magnesium to 1 calcium. Mm-hmm. And in these products, the milk is 7 to 1. Yogurt is 11 to 1. And hard cheeses is about 28 to 1.
And you're supposed to be having 7 to 1?
You're supposed to be having 1 to 2. Like you're supposed to be having 2 times magnesium to 1 times calcium.
So and it's 28 times the calcium in milk to 1 magnesium.
In hard cheese.
Okay. And that's the best kind, the cheddar cheeses.
That's the best tasting kind.
The best tasting.
But what do you want to do? You want to taste something delicious, or do you want a nutrient?
No, I want to
provide your body nutrients.
Absolutely. Like I don't want to have my stuff to be out of whack.
Right.
If that means giving up certain things, that's
How many people do you know that get like constipated or bunged up from eating a lot of cheese?
Probably quite a few.
Yeah.
And that's because you're not getting as much magnesium as you need.
That's because the calcium is constricting and magnesium is relaxing.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
And if you do more constricting than relaxing,
you're gonna get stuffed up.
You're gonna get plugged up.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take extra magnesium and help that go. And you can just take a little bit. You take a little bit and you see how it works for you. And you check with your doctor to make sure that you're not doing anything, against what they're doing. But you need to explore this stuff. And I have never known anybody who overdosed on magnesium. You can buy magnesium.
Another discussion I want to bring up just quickly. We talked about vitamin D with the lady today.
Yes.
Now, my reading was 51, and they recommend you to be between 130 and 200. So I upped my dose of vitamin D to get my levels to where they should be, and got rebuked on the amount that I was taking because they said it could be toxic for the body and dangerous. Melissa is a really knowledgeable source on vitamin D, so
I just really believe on it. I believe in it a lot.
So I want you to explain, what were some of the questions that you asked her, and what do you think?
I was just curious as to her impression or understanding of what could happen to you if you took too much vitamin D and how much was too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, she was talking such low dosages. She was like, well, the regular dose is about 2,000 international units per day, and you don't want to be taking much more than that. Something bad can happen. It should be doctor supervised. And I'm thinking, I personally have been taking 10 to 20,000, sometimes 50,000 a day for a very long time.
Okay.
And I've just gotten my vitamin
10 to 50,000?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Full dropper.
So you're taking 25 times the recommended, like sometimes. That's quite a huge jump. And you've never had any problems from that, have you? No. So you can have 25 times the recommended amount and be okay. So if you're deficient, why wouldn't you take more than the recommended amount? It could help you race up to the number that you need to get to. So
I mean, I don't want to recommend people do anything that they don't believe in, which is good for themselves. What I do want to recommend is that people really read about the benefits of vitamin D, because as I understand it, if you took an obscene amount of vitamin D, like obscene amount, whole month doses every day for an extended period of time,
mm-hmm.
you can get a level of vitamin D in your body that's toxic. But as I understand it, the symptoms are like nausea or fatigue. I've had worse symptoms from a night of drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to do that. You have to take an obscene amount for a long time.
And so you would say that if you're deficient in it, like you had a reading, that's less than half of the recommended.
I wouldn't even worry about that. I don't think people can take enough vitamin D responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you buy a vitamin D at the store and you take it faster than they recommend, but you're not taking the whole dosage every day, I think you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I think people should get their vitamin D checked with their doctor, see where they're at, decide on the dosage that works for them. Maybe they do the recommended dosage. Maybe they double it. Maybe they triple it. Maybe they do what I do and go crazy with it and 10 to 25 times it. Whatever works for them.
Yeah.
But in 3 months, check their levels again.
Mm-hmm.
If they like where it's going, they continue what they're doing. If they've made no change or no benefit or they don't like what it's going, then they change.
What do you think about exceeding their cap on it? Like when they say 130 to 200, I don't even know what those numbers mean.
I think the actual range is 80 to 200
okay.
and 50.
And what does that range measure?
So it measures the nanomoles per liter of vitamin D within your blood. So from the way that I understand it, when you're low levels of vitamin D, just like magnesium, there's a whole bunch of processes in the body that are just not working right. They don't have the adequate capability to do what they need to do. They just don't. It's like you get in your car to go somewhere and you got lots of gas, but your battery's missing, or the hose between one of the hoses is gone.
Yeah, you're missing something critical.
You're missing something critical. It's a small little piece, but it's critical in the function. And so when people have more vitamin D, they start protecting themselves from all sorts of illness, sickness, and disease. And it's good for your immune system. Like, it's just great.
Yeah,
okay, let's go on.
Okay.
We got kefir. Now, kefir is an interesting one. I haven't done enough research on kefir to know one way or the other who it's good for. It's fermented. It's like a yogurt product, but it's even more fermented and raw.
Okay.
Yeah. So for kefir, like anything that's processed and packaged and conveniently sold, it's not going to be as good as something you're making in your own kitchen. If you have something in your own kitchen that you enjoy making, you enjoy eating, you enjoy the benefits, and you feel like it's really good for you, and you check in with yourself and it's a good thing, you want to continue doing it, eat it all day long. If you're just getting, because there's benefits to eating those foods.
Yeah.
The hard cheese, I think we already went over that. Okay, now meats. I'm the first person to consider the whole like no meat thing from a different perspective. I can agree with people that eating animals is not a nice thing to do, but I can also agree with people that the benefits from which we can get from animals are beneficial. There's benefits that we can get from eating those products. Now, personally, what I have a problem with is how the products are processed and made for my body. If I had a chicken running around in my backyard and I knew what it was eating and I knew that it wasn't stressed out and I was collecting the eggs myself, I might eat them once in a while. Um, Unfortunately, we don't live in a farm. We don't have our own chickens, and our best bet would be buying them from the store. Um, I'm not into it. I'm not into eating foods produced by animals that I don't think are treated very well. Plus, in my experience, being involved and exposed to different people with allergies and all those kinds of different conditions, egg whites actually irritate a lot of people, and I've never figured out the benefit of eating egg whites by themselves.
They say that it's a good way to lower the amount of cholesterol that you take when you have your eggs. That's like the common.
But what? But cholesterol is not the problem.
It's the type of cholesterol that you're getting.
It's the type of cholesterol, but it's also cholesterol is a result for inflammation. I mean, this is a whole other topic, but it's not the cholesterol that you need to worry about. It's the inflammation in the body. And the foods that cause inflammation in the body are foods that are acidic: meat, coffee, chocolate, processed foods, confectionery sugar, eggs. Okay. Yeah, it's all acidic foods. So, there's a whole spectrum, and if you're interested in that kind of stuff, look up alkaline and acidic diet, and just eat more alkaline foods and acidic. You'll like it. It's very, very good. But with the eggs, I wouldn't be eating a whole bunch of eggs for any reason. But if I was going to eat them, they come from a shell, not a box. If you're going to eat eggs, eat the whole thing. You need to have a complete food in order for your body to get the most benefit out of it. If you're eating egg whites by itself, you're just processing something that you're not able to draw from. It's not a good idea. Peanut butter and nut butters. Now, I don't put those in the same category. First of all, peanuts are legumes. They're not nuts. And they're actually not as beneficial for your body to process and extract vitamins, minerals, and nutrients from as nuts. And most of the peanut butters out there are not made just from peanuts. There's like a whole bunch of sugars and oils and all kinds of stuff. And once you start mixing sugar and oils with anything, it's not good.
One thing that I like to do sometimes is have a scoop of peanut butter. And the kind that we have at my dad's, it's like there's not too many ingredients. It doesn't seem like it's too bad. But, I mean, I guess if you're going to spend your time eating something, you're better off having something that's going to provide you a lot of nutrients and better things for your body. If you're looking for something just to satisfy a food craving,
yep.
I think peanut butter can be a very effective.
Yep. If you're going to eat it, natural organic peanuts with not a lot of ingredients.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even.
There's like 3 ingredients. Like it's whatever it is. It's like organic. This what, and it's just like I don't feel bad eating it.
If you're gonna do it, you make the best choice possible at the time.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you had a little peanut butter with bananas and that was your snack,
it's not so bad.
It's not so bad.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than other choices. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean it's the best choice for you. It's not as good as a green juice.
Of course. Yeah.
But if there's no green juice available,
make the best of what option.
Make the best of the option.
Okay.
What else have we got on here? Nuts, seeds. I mean, I could get into that forever too. I like my nuts to be germinated because it has extra benefits. But I mean, if you're not allergic to nuts, eating nuts are a great source of fats and proteins and all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. And the legumes. Legumes are an interesting one because they're very good for you, and there's no argument that if you broke those legumes up under a microscope, you would see a lot of nutrients and minerals and vitamins.
Okay.
The problem is the amount of energy that your body has to exude to break those down to make those usable.
So legumes are those beans as well?
Beans, lentils,
okay.
Peanuts.
So yeah, okay.
So your body has to do a lot of work to get a little bit of benefit. So are they going to hurt you? No. Are they going to make you gassy and bloated? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gas and bloating is not a normal accompaniment to digestion. We just think it's normal because it's very common. And it's very common based on the foods that we eat.
And when people have what's available, sometimes it's legumes and things like that.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And I mean, you know what? It's a good choice compared to, would I rather hear about somebody eating a lentil burger with some on lettuce than a tofu burger on a bun? Absolutely. 8 days a week.
You would take legumes over the.
I would take the lentil burger with lettuce, like that sort of option,
Yeah.
over tofu with a bun.
Mm-hmm.
Both
Yeah.
both could be vegan, both would be vegetarian, both would be whatever.
But one's a better choice than the other.
But one's a better choice because it's easier for your body to extract nutrients from. What else is on here? Oils and fats. Okay, this actually really irks me because it says include a small amount of unsaturated fat each day. This includes oils used for cooking, salad dressing, margarine, and mayonnaise. Use vegetable oils such as canola, olive, and soybean. Choose soft margarines that are low in saturated and trans fats. Limit butter, hard margarine, lard, and shortening. Okay, first of all, I think this is complete garbage. I would never recommend anybody use vegetable oils, canola oils, or soybean oils. Olive oils, if you're going to use it, it should be used cold. It should be used in salads. You can mix it in your cooking after you've cooked it. I would rather everybody use butter over margarine. I actually, even though I choose not to eat it because it's a dairy product, I still think that when you put fats with your greens, you actually allow your body to get more out of what you're already eating. So if you're eating steamed vegetables, collard greens,
it's good to have with butter.
You're and you put butter on it. You're actually going to get more benefit out of the greens
and
that you're already eating.
And that's because the nutrients have a place to kind of develop.
Right. There's fat soluble vitamins and there's water soluble vitamins. And the fat soluble vitamins, if you don't have a place for them to sit, where are they going to sit? If you walk into a room and there's no chairs, you walk out of the room.
Yeah, they go together. They're complements.
Yeah, you need some place for them to sit. So you need to have. That's why sprinkling pumpkin seeds or nuts or stuff on your salads is an excellent. Or having an oil and vinaigrette dressing is an excellent way for you to get nutrition, for you to get more out of the salads or more out of the greens that you're already eating. All right, so I think I could probably talk about this for about 3 weeks. At the end of the day, what I recommend people do when they're planning their meals is check in with themselves after they eat certain foods. So go out and buy some foods. I prefer the produce aisle. I like to buy foods that I want to be made of, colorful, nice looking foods to give me a sexy vegetable glow. But I mean, you can really go around the store and pick out anything you want. Absolutely anything. Then you go home, you make the food, you eat it. You check in with yourself 10 to 20 minutes after you've eaten the foods, and here's the secret. If the foods make you feel like you want to have a conversation, play cards, go for a walk, be energetic, have a great time, smile, have a dance party in your kitchen, anything where you're being engaged, those are good foods for you. If the foods make you feel lethargic, oh, I need to sit down. Oh, I need a nap.
My energy is zapped.
My energy is zapped.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I want the remote, but it's way over there. I think I'll just sit here with my feet up and give myself 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And before you know it, you're snoring on the couch. If those are the kind of foods you're eating, those are not good foods for you. So whatever those are, that's for you to decide. And as you start being more in tune with what you're eating and what you're doing and how your body responds to situations and foods and the environment that you're in, you'll start making better decisions for you. So it's not about following somebody's food guide. It's about following your own body's intuition of what's good for you. The foods that make you feel good, you eat more of them.
Mm-hmm.
The foods that make you feel bad, you eat less of them. But you allow yourself the freedom to make decisions based on what's best in the moment. If you go to a salad bar, you're going to have a lot of options. Some restaurants you go to, you're not going to have a lot of options.
Yeah. That's one of the hardest things is not having options when you go to restaurants. But a lot of places do offer sides, and the sides offer a lot of different variety for people who are looking for asparagus sides or broccoli sides or whatever it may be. At least they're there, but you have to kind of order.
You have to ask them. You have to be creative.
Yeah, and quite often if you ask them, you let them know kind of what you're looking for, they'll quite often find a way to make you enjoy your meal, right? So.
Yeah. So there's always options out there. And if you cheat a little bit when you're out, you cheat a little bit when you're out. When you're out. Move on. What's next?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was really helpful for you. It went on a little longer than I had hoped or that I had anticipated initially. But post your questions, post your comments, and let's just continue to get this information out there and think about what we're really doing for our bodies and think about how we can really create the body that we want. So, namaste. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.